Hello and welcome back to Huffler Garage. Today we have a 1970s Fox Scrambler. It has a 3.5 horsepower Tecumseh motor, and so far the testing I've done on it, it'll fire off ether, and I went through and cleaned out the carburetor one time and it still wouldn't run. And I was talking to a guy and he said there's a hidden port in the main jet, and we're going to be pulling the carburetor back off, and I'll show you the steps and procedure to do all that, along with hopefully finding this port and maybe get this thing running this evening. So we're going to start with draining the fuel. Move it closer. There's our little carburetor. We have our little all-purpose Pyrex dish. At least I use it for all-purpose. But I do not use it for cooking. And amazingly enough, I don't even have one for cooking. But at least we got something to work with. Starting to sneak bugs. Alright, now that we have that drained, we can start pulling this. Air filter cover is a big flat head. And then it twists and pull it off. There's our air filter. We might need a new one of those, but for the moment, we just want to hear it run. Next is a Phillips screwdriver. We'll go ahead and take this plate off. Get it out of the way. There's our cute little carburetor. Next, take 11 millimeter, or if you ain't got two 11 millimeters, you can use two 7/16. They're practically the same size. A mathematician might argue, but mechanics don't care. There we go. Oh, I dropped the dip. There's our nut. I'm gonna leave that bolt hanging there so that it can hold the gasket in. Then we're gonna go around to the other side. Having some finagling issues with this rod, but there we go. And that rod just rolls right out of there. All right. We'll take you right over here to our workstation table. We'll drain our carburetor. Do the little drainy drain out here. I may need a rag. Alright, so we got her some rags. Or towels, as you could call them. There we go. That should contrast well so you can see what we're going with. And you can use whatever wrench will fit that, but I have these neat little tools. They're like they got a cam lobe on them, so the more pressure you put on the back of them, the tighter they are. So when I first opened this thing up, the float here was stuck to the bottom of the cup or the bowl, and it had some black gunk built up in it. And I'm trying to find where that little port is. Oh, is that it? Might be. I'm going to take this as an adjustable main screw. We'll take it out of there. Set it to the side. And there is a little bitty, tiny hole. See it right there? And I bet you that right there is our culprit. That's why we're not getting any fuel into the main jet. Let me go see if I can find something to run down in there. Okay, and we're back. So, for that little bitty port, found a piece of copper wire. You can stick it down in there and poke it out. It don't take much, but as long as we can know that we're getting fuel in there, maybe we'll get to hear this thing run here in a bit. Drive it plumb in. Screw it out just a hair. That way we can work with it whenever we get her up on there. Yeah, almost every single port in this thing was stopped up with black gum. Oh dear. You have to be careful not to unhook the needle and seat from the float. See? Oh, not enough light. But hopefully most of you know what a needle and seat looks like. It gets right. You can kind of see the top of it there. But yeah. And the choke was frozen up, and the throttle was frozen up, and our needle and seat, our needle fell out. So this should be fun sticking it back in there. Oh. Plush. I know it was hard for you to see what I was doing, but that goes right there. We got it where it's in there good. So now we can put this thing back together. See, our drain was on fuel inside. We'll make sure that our O-ring goes back up in there. We don't want to cut it. We kind of really don't got one. And I couldn't find a rebuild kit, but I did find a different carburetor. Well, a new carburetor. And we went ahead and ordered it just for good measure. It might be here by the end of July. So we're going to piddle with this for a bit. See if we can't get it running off this good old puppy. And I'm not gonna like murder down on this thing. I'm gonna just tighten it to where I know that it's sealing, because we don't want to crush them O-rings plumb out of the way, out of their part. Now, let's see if we can't have some fun. Get it all put back together and we'll go from there. Did you happen to see where that fell? Oh, no. Well, junk. I do believe it fell down in here. Doggone it. Alright, so due to a series of unfortunate events, like dropping this bolt, had to remove the cover. So, just so you know, if you ever get one of these, the model number is on this plate on the front of the engine. This one is a H35. That's 3.5 horsepower. And if you type that in on Google, it'll bring you up at Tecumseh. They made a H25, a H30, and a H35. And supposedly, I'm guessing, those are the horsepower rating because this one came up as a 3.5 horsepower. So, we're going to leave this off while we put this bolt in. That way, if we drop it again, we'll be good. Yeah, that would have been in there much longer. So this must have been one I dropped. So we will stick this back on hard. Get through there. Yeah. Well, it'd probably help if I could actually start the bolt. Alright, there's that one tight. Well, finger tight anyway. We'll get the other one finger tight. Back to our wrenches.
just right enough. Now let's see. The throttle works. It's a good sign. Next, I'm going to slip our cover back on. At least we might get it back on. We're aiming to. Anyway. What's in there? Daily. Go up on there. There we go. That done deal. One bolt goes over her. One bolt goes over her. Well, you'll start there in a moment. Where was it? This one. There we go. I'm pretty sure these three top bolts are head bolts. So I'm giving them a good tightening down, but not, kind of not to strip out the aluminum. Because I do not have torque specs for this engine. So we will put her together and wish for the best. Whenever you're testing an engine like this, if you can disable the main drive in any way, shape, or form so that it can freewheel, that way it doesn't take off out from underneath of you, be a good idea. Like this one has a belt drive, and I took the belt off, and I'll show you how to put it back on here in a bit if it runs. So we should be ready to test it. Everything's free. Our engine tween's over. We're using 87 octane non-ethanol fuel. We'll put just enough in there for it to, and we know that the carburetor's getting fuel, so we've got a leaky spot. All right. Everything's clear. We're out of the way. We're gonna halfway choke it. I'll be getting too much. Let's see, we'll turn it all the way up. Bring it out a half. Bring it out another half. Bring it out a little more. Give her a snort, see if we can't get her. Well, ran off that shot of ether. I wonder if this little screw has anything to do with it. Turn the other end. Back it out one turn. I think she's getting something. See if we can't get her going. I wonder why that thing don't want to stay open. Okay, we're gonna cheat. Yep. There we go. It open. I feel like that screw's about too far out, but I'm hoping for it. Well, we might have to wait for the new carburetor, because I'm at a loss. Alright then. Well, I'd say it's a no-go for today. But it's worth a shot. I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next time.